Okay, here we go. I'm Steven. I'm from Crux. Crux is a hybrid clinic, basically chiro and physical therapy combined. We're a few minutes north of you in Shorewood, and we specialize in getting people to move better, get them to feel better, and therefore eventually getting them to live a little bit better. We help people who are physically hurting, and we teach them how to fix themselves, guide them back to the things that they love. So here's the plan for the day. We're going to start with a few general ideas and then quickly dive into the practical side of things and take-home habits to improve your health. Last year, yes, it is me. It's the same person. I'm a little bit grayer, a little bit less hair. But last year, for those of you who were there, we chatted about finger, wrist, elbow, shoulder issues while you're playing your instruments. These are all really fantastic. If you need links to those, let me know. We'll go through them again. But this year, I think our health has taken a harder hit than usual. So our focus today will be to treat the entire person, the whole person. So our mental and physical health are connected. And this is what gets me so excited about going to work every single day. I'm a climber, so I think of mental and physical health as climbers connected by a rope, climbing up a mountain together. They're either going to find success together or find failure together. And they really do have a direct influence on each other. The only way that you're going to reach the summit is if both your mental and physical health are strong. If one seems to fall or falter, the other one is going to get pulled down with it. The analogy is a little bit morbid, but stick with me here. Here's a real life example. Think of the last time you had the flu. Physically, your body felt trashed. You're feverish, achy, diarrhea, no good. How'd you feel emotionally? Sunshine and rainbows? You hurt all over. You can't even leave the bathroom, but you've got a smile on your face and you're feeling good. No way. I don't think so. Physical health affects your mental health. You physically feel crummy, and emotionally that pulls you down as well. They're very connected. And it works the other way too. Mental health has an effect on our physical health. So you just got dumped by your girlfriend. You got a parking ticket. Found out that the paper was due tomorrow and not on Friday, right? All of these things are extremely stressful. Stress is at an all-time high. You feel like eating a well-balanced diet, going out for a run? No. I mean, the fact of the matter is when your mental stress is high, physically, it takes a toll as well. So the truth is they're connected and they both can spiral out of control together. And the neat thing, I think, is that we can reverse this spiral. We can do things by starting with one or the other to reverse the spiral. So if they seem to be going out of control, start with one small step. Grab your physical health gear and crank it in the opposite direction. Start with a healthy lunch. Eat a nice, healthy, well-rounded lunch, and you feel pretty good about yourself. So you decide you want to do a 15-minute yoga on YouTube, right? That seems to be doing pretty well. And so, you notice that you smiled for the first time today, right? So we started with the physical side of things, took a little crank in the opposite direction, and all of a sudden you start feeling a little bit better, a little bit more positive. This, again, to bring it back, this is what gets me excited to go to work every single day. I work with people who are hurting, right? And sometimes this is kind of sounds funny, but patients will come in and they'll be kind of grumpy, right? They won't be feeling too good. And I can't tell whether it's, that they just don't like me or whether it's, just that they're a negative person or what. They come in and, they've got low back pain or arm pain or shoulder, whatever it is, right? Well, we find that after a couple of visits, as they start to feel a little bit better, all of a sudden their demeanor changes a little bit. It's really the neatest thing. I wish you could be a fly on the wall in the office. But I want this, take this into account into your own lives. If you find yourself to be going down that track, spiraling down that track, what can you do? Choose nutrition or choose movement or choose, some type of positive mental, emotional well-being effect and start to just crank just a little bit, and you'll notice some changes on both sides of things. So, all right. So Everyone's talking about how crummy 2020 is. There's a global pandemic. Sorry to go down this path, but it's destroying lives. It's virtually changing every aspect of life. Political divide, so polarized. And I'm not joking about this. I was on Halloween, I'm walking down the street, and there's this old lady working in her lawn, just a few houses down. And I was so upset I almost flipped her off because of her yard sign. Like, political divide is crazy right now, right? It's so stressful. We can't agree on whether climate change has anything to do with humans or whether systemic racism is a figment of liberal imagination, right? Like, we're so divided. People are out of their jobs. The Packers lost to the Vikings. And we don't know when the next indoor concert will be, right? Like, I don't need to go on any further than that. Right? This is stressful, right? If we spend all day worrying about everything that I just mentioned, we'll be paralyzed by anxiety, right? Stress beyond capacity. These are all examples of things that we have absolutely no control over, right? This is designated in this little diagram here as areas of concern, right? These are things that concern us, but that we have no control over, right? And then there's a number of things that we have some influence on, but not total control over. We have some ability to affect change in them, such as your schedule, your everyday routines, your thoughts, who you spend time with. These all belong in that yellow zone, right? And then lastly, there's things that you have total control over. So these are things such as your words and your actions, what you eat, how you move, how you exercise, what you read, all things in that green zone. So in reality, we can spend time thinking about, whatever we choose to think about, but when things are getting really out of hand in your life, I want to encourage you to kind of think of this idea and start reining it in. Spend more time, more of your effort focusing on things that you can control, right? Things in that red zone are totally out of our control. These are things that are interesting topics to talk about, right? I want to encourage you to have these conversations, but when things are out of control, rein it in and focus on the things that you can control, right? All right. Give me a second here. All right. I use this visual in my office all the time to explain physical pain to patients and injuries that people deal with. We have a certain capacity to tolerate stress. Exceeding that capacity creates problems. So that capacity can be likened to a glass of water. Now let's see how tricky I can be with this guy. So our capacity can be likened to a glass of water. My shaky hand drawing that thing. You see that glass there, right? We have symptoms whenever that glass overflows, right? So when it's coming up and over, we start to have some symptoms here. The water that fills it up is stress. And it can fill up quickly with an injury or major crisis, or it can fill up slowly with repetitive strain. So that's what this little part of the graph, right? So here's our threshold here, the pain threshold. And if we have a major injury, that can fill up quickly. Or we can have repetitive strain, crummy posture, poor diet, all these different things, poor sleep. They can fill it up very slowly. And our problems aren't generally caused by a single drip, right? There's no straw that broke the camel's back. It's really kind of a multitude of multiple things. And anything that partially fills up that glass makes it a little bit more likely for that next drip to exceed the capacity, to overflow, to cause pain or symptoms or anxiety, whatever it is. So it's not any one thing. It's a number of things that combine into that. Now, here's the deal. There's a number of things that we can do to help this as well, right? We can take a few different approaches. First of all, slow the faucet that's pouring into that cup. One of those things is simply that, the last slide that we were just talking about, narrow down your focus. Focus on things that you can control, right? We can improve posture during, work or study or play, right? We can increase, frequent breaks and eat a cleaner diet, reduce unnecessary or non-productive time in these crummy postures, phone, or even, I might get in trouble for saying this, but if it's non-productive practice time on your instrument, if it's non-productive, still stress added in. So take some time away, get away from that, and come back to it later when you can be more productive. That stress is not worth it, right? So we can reduce the flow into the cup and reduce that stress into the cup, and that will help those levels. Secondly, we can also drain the cup, right? So this is the relief here, relief valve, right? So this is what I do in the office with muscle work and release work for the muscles and adjustments. But there's so much that you can do on your own. Stretching and going outside for walks, using foam roller, doing some form of self-massage. All of these things will help drain that cup. And it'll drain more quickly if you stick to a routine, if you're consistent with it. So, and lastly, and this is a really neat thing, once you get your symptoms under control, whether that's, physical symptoms, stress symptoms, emotional symptoms, whatever it is, once you get them under control, the coolest idea is that you can build up a bigger cup, right? So you can build up that cup so that you have greater capacity, right? You can withstand more stress, right? And you can become more durable using things like strength training, right? Using things like mobility or flexibility work, meditation, a bunch of other things. You can become resilient to this stress, right? It doesn't mean that you'll never have symptoms again, but it does mean that it'll take a lot more to get you there. So, all right. Next, let's get into some practical takeaways. So I want to give you 8 things here, right? I started with 10 and then it got too convoluted, right? So we narrowed it down to 8 things you can take with you and start today to improve your health. Most of these you've heard of, right? These are not going to be earth-shattering things, but hopefully hearing it from me one more time, at least between 1 and 8 of them will be actionable. You'll be able to start the process. Again, as you can imagine from what we've already talked about a little bit, some of them will be work on your mental emotional state. Some of them will be work on your physical side of things. We can't separate these things out, right? So the first one happens to do a little bit of both. Number 1, walk, right? There's something magical about the effects of a walk. Try to get outside for at least 15 minutes a day. And remember, as my coworker Alex always says, there's no such thing as bad weather. There's only inappropriate clothing, right? So we're getting into the winter in Wisconsin. I know it's going to be wet. I know it's going to be rainy, crummy. Put on a freaking jacket. Like you can dry off when you get home. I promise the walk will be worth it. So another idea that honestly has really saved me a time or two is this. I was told once, when you're feeling down or not feeling too good, go out for a 15-minute walk. And preferably with some kind of nature around, but urban nature's fine, right? Like if all you have is a bunch of, the suburb, the city, whatever it is, go out for a walk, right? If you're still stressed after that 15-minute walk, don't walk inside, stay outside, add another 15, right? Keep going. That 15 minutes is coming up and you're still feeling stressed. Stay outside until you feel better and you'll get there. So, all right. Habit number 2, journal. So if you don't already do so, this took a little bit to convince me of, and now it's made a really big difference in my life. I want to encourage you to journal every single night. So you can do it any way that you want, right? This frequent habit will make a difference. So here's a simple framework for you. Start with what happened today, right? So you take out your journal right before bed. What happened today? This can be a sentence, right? It doesn't need to be a big deal, a big committing thing. Just write down what happened. You could write an entire novel. I don't care. Just put down what happened today. Next, gratitude. So jot down who or what you're grateful for. Bonus points if you can put why. Again, you can start with one thing, or you can go into, fill the page with things that you're grateful for. But this is a really nice practice. And, the third step to do All right, put down anything that's on your mind you don't want to forget for tomorrow. And by writing these things down, securing them on the page, your mind will be more at ease, right? They don't need to be in front of the mind now, and they're on the page, so you can go to sleep and sleep well. Nightly journaling helps to lower anxiety, right? It helps to lower stress, helps improve sleep, which brings me to habit 3. Now, this picture is a fun little video that I shot with my daughter here, all about sleep posture, because we get people coming in with neck and back pain all the time, and instead of telling 1,000 people how to sleep, I just said, go watch the video, right? I love this little quote: "Sleep's the golden chain that ties our health and our bodies together." The long-term effects of sleep deprivation are real, with memory issues, mood changes, weakened immunity, risk for heart disease, diabetes, weight gain, decreased sex drive, and greater risk for accidents. When I was in undergrad, I was terrible about this, right? When I was studying, I went to Madison, and I just had an unrelenting fear of missing out. I had to always be there, right? Which led to some late nights. I wouldn't start studying until everyone else was done, right? So a week before finals, I'd start cramming, and last few nights would be completely without sleep, and I'd show up for the exams and I'd be exhausted, right? I just feel horrible. But I'd get through the exam, and without fail, 2 things would happen within 24 hours. First, because of the effect on poor memory, I'd forget everything that I'd studied, right? So I'd remember it, thank goodness, long enough to take the test, but then it was gone, right? And I'd also come down with some terrible cold or some terrible flu because, increased stress and anxiety, increased fatigue due to lack of sleep, and I would just get crushed. My immune system would be terrible. I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with that, but it is certainly something that I noticed almost every single time finals came around, but a really kind of shiny example of how important sleep is. This is just an acute example, right? Prolonged fatigue is not good for us. Getting adequate sleep is essential for our health. And you probably heard this, so I'm not going to harp on it too much more, but turn off your electronics. They say an hour before bed. I'm not always great about it, but realize that putting it away is going to help. Read a book. Get some type of routine before you go to bed. Make sure that your room is dark. Practice meditation. Brings us to our next point. Habit number 4, meditation, right? So before I knew anything about it, I made some assumptions about meditation. I thought it was part of a religion. It turns out religious and non-religious people alike all practice meditation. It has, to say it has nothing to do with religion, I'd say there are some religions that use it, but as a non-religious person, I use it as well. And it's really, really fantastic. It's used to train mental clarity. It's used to create emotional calm. It's used to help with pain. It's been found to reduce stress and anxiety, depression, all these things while improving overall well-being. And even those that are really well practiced don't find it easy. But it can be really, really simple. It's a simple idea. When you first start, it can be as simple as sitting in a quiet room and listening to and feeling your breath go in and out. Very, very simple idea, but it makes a huge difference. There's a bunch of free apps out there. There's Calm and there's Headspace. There's 10% Happier. Pick one, try it out. I use 10% Happier. It makes a big difference in my life. But I think I got it for free. I think it's like free with some additions or something like that, right? So if you haven't ever tried it before and you're feeling like it might not be for you, I encourage you just try it once, right? It's if you have 5 minutes to spare. It doesn't have to be a huge time commitment, and you don't need to sit there with your hands. Just sit in a quiet room, listen to a guided meditation. It will make a difference. Cool. So here we go. Habit number 5, stretch. So we spend so much time in a seated posture, just like this guy here in the example. If you notice here, maybe your desk setup isn't exactly like this, but bear with me, right? Like whether you're on your instrument or you're on a computer, on a laptop, or you're looking at your phone, we do spend way too much time. Even myself, as someone who stands for most of my job, I spend too much time seated. So I'm gonna, again, see if I can grab this pen here. Take a look at this guy's hips. This, in a seated posture, he spends a whole lot of time at 90 degrees in his hips. Hopefully that's coming through for you guys. If you look at his knees, they are around 90-ish, right? Always bent here. If you look at his posture, his spine's set forward, right? So head is driven forward, his shoulders are slumped forward, right? So this posture is going to lead to his shoulders in front and his chest being a little bit tight. He's going to feel it in the back of his shoulders, right? So right in through here, he's going to have some tension pain in the top of his neck, right? So this due to the fact that his shoulders are rolled in, right? You'll also notice that because his hips are at 90, he'll have the tendency to be a bit tight through his hip flexors, right? So in the front of his hips, he's going to tend to be a little bit tighter as well as through his hamstrings and the backs of his thighs. Those are going to be a little bit tighter as well. So again, if you already have a stretching routine that you like, that works for you, more power to you, keep it up. It's fine, right? If you don't have one, we're going to go through a few here. This position that this guy is in and that we all spend too much time in cause two common syndromes, upper cross syndrome and lower cross syndrome. These are just postural syndromes that kind of set our joints and muscles into inopportune positions, can cause some undue stress on all of us. So to fix it, 3 super simple stretches. We're not even going to go through this because we'll do some movement here in a minute. First one's just a simple doorway stretch. Notice on this picture that he has his arms at multiple different positions. He also has his elbow bent, right? This is going to make sure you don't strain too much through the upper part of the arm or into the shoulder, right? We really want you to feel that stretch through the front part of your chest, right? So multiple different positions. The next one is for your hip flexor. We're going to do something similar in just a moment, but opening up through that hip flexor is going to, again, this is right through the front part of her hip. So this is her hip flexor right through here, and she's doing a little bit of stretching through there, right? And the last very simple one is hamstring stretch. So there's lots of ways. Oh, that looks kind of funny, huh? Right. There's lots of ways to stretch your hamstrings, right? You've all done it. I will send some videos to your professors that they can share with you guys. Exercises that we do here in the clinic, some specific ones. If you want some guidance, we'll send those to you, nice and easy. But these 3 simple areas to stretch are going to help a majority of your mobility issues, right? There's more. If you need specifics, email me, right? We can talk about it. But these 3 are going to get you a long way. Okay. Habit number 6. You knew this one was coming. Drink more water. So people ask about how much. It doesn't really matter. Drink more water. But I will tell you how much. Take your body weight in pounds. Divide it in half, right? That's how many ounces you should have each day. So I'm going to do this math for you. I weigh 160 pounds, give or take 3, right? I should be having 80 ounces, right? 160 divided by 2, 80 ounces of water each day. So carry a water bottle with you everywhere you go, right? Preferably one with a straw. It makes a difference. I find that if I have a straw, I drink more water. It's a silly thing, but it really does make a difference for me, especially now that I have to wear a mask. So, and to answer a few common questions that I get, here we go. Does coffee count? We hear at Crux are coffee drinkers. So does coffee count? I say yes. Only let it count for like 16 ounces or so. You do have to actually drink water. It can't be a majority of the ounces that you get from coffee, but we'll say it does count. Does soda count? Soda, pop, Coke, whatever you call it, it doesn't in my book. In general, I think the net effects are negative. So if you need to treat yourself every once in a while, go ahead and have some soda, but don't do it on a daily routine, and it doesn't count. I'm sorry. Does fizzy water count? Of course. Right now, I've been loving the blackberry bubbly. It's extremely good if you haven't tried it before. All right, cool. That's water. You need to drink more of it. Habit number 7, connect, right? If you are lucky enough to still have grandparents, check in with them. They miss you. You call them on FaceTime and chat, and they miss you. Get a hold of them if you don't have grandparents, or if you just need to connect with that friend from another state, or honestly down the street. At this point, we aren't really able to hang out with the people that you normally can. Call them up, connect, right? In your small social circle, play board games with your roommates. Do something, connect, hang out, put everything else away, and connect in person. There's so few people that we can do that with right now. Take advantage of the ones that you can with. Another way to connect, open up that journal that you just started last night, the gratitude section. Flip through, open up to the gratitude section, that whole list of people that you put on there. Find someone in there and write them a quick email, write a letter, write a quick text. Let them know that you appreciate them. And I'll make it easy for you. It doesn't have to be that big of a deal, right? Dear Dr. Weir, just wanted to send you a quick note and let you know how much I appreciate you helping me coordinate this chat today. And it really made me feel special. I appreciate it, right? So like, it doesn't have to be that big of a deal. It doesn't have to be weird. If you need to put it in your own words, that's fine. It doesn't all have to go to Dr. Weir. Some of them should, though. No, just kidding. All right, here we go. Time to move. You should be doing at least every day, at least 5 minutes of posture correction exercises, right? I need you to go ahead and get up and out of your chair. I can't see your video. I'm just only going to be able to see myself. So don't worry about that. The following, it's a series of movements. It's really good for bulletproofing your low back. It's not easy. I didn't come up with these movements. To be honest, neither did the guy who taught it to me. I think basically they're mostly all stolen from yoga, to be honest. But they're really, really fantastic for bulletproofing your low back. I tell everyone, so I'm going to send you a video later, a YouTube video for this. I tell everyone that it is a tough exercise. Take breaks when you need to. If you're having trouble with it, that's fine. Take a break, take some time. And when you can, join back in as soon as you're feeling ready to do it. And have patience with yourself, right? You will improve, you will strengthen over time. So here we go. Let me stop my screen share for a second there. Good. All right. I see one video. It's Gretchen. Hi, Gretchen. All right, here we go. So welcome to Crux. If you can see me a little bit more. You guys can see me? We're good? Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so and let me turn this down just a little bit. So this series of exercise is called foundation training. There's a guy out of California who came up with these exercises. And he has a whole different education. So if you love it, go study his foundation training and sign up for his program. But I will send you a video in the next day or two of the complete workout here. So again, find some space, and here we go. Alex, you want to join us? How's your back feel? All right, he's going to take some time off. Here we go. All right, so what I want you to do is stand about shoulder width apart. Feet about shoulder width apart, doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see me. Hopefully you can still hear me. What I want you to do is send your butt back nice and far. Chest stays high, send your butt back really, really far here. Chest is high, right? And then you're going to take your hands, turn your thumbs to the back side. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. You're here. Now, don't let your knees come too far forward. I want you to shift your butt back nice and far. Notice my back is nice and straight. Hold that position here. Good. Go ahead, lift your butt a tiny bit more. Get a nice little stretch through those hamstrings. Good. Hands are going to now come towards your shoulders, right? From this position, what I want you to do is your butt is going to go back further as your chest stays nice and high. We're going to do 10 good mornings here, right? Now, I've got my low back tight the whole time. Notice I'm not curling and bending through my low back, only hinging here at my hip. Good. Very good. Get those hands down to your side again. Thumbs to the back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Good. From this position, you're going to raise your hands up. They're going to go all the way up, as high as they can go. Chest stays nice and tall and proud. Arms reaching up. Hips come back. Push your hips back even further. Knees come back over the heels. Press those heels into the ground as you raise your arms up a little bit further. Turn your thumbs down. Raise them up a tiny bit further. Good. And then relax all the way down to the ground. Good. Hips come back. What I want you to do is get a nice stretch through those hamstrings. Stretch them as hard as you can. They can be trembling. Hands come out another couple inches out in front of you. Bring those hips back as far as you can go. Good. All of the weight on your heels here. Good. Hamstrings should be trembling here. Now, hands come to your shins. Hands go to your knees. Press that chest up as high as you can go. Nice and straight. Extend through that low back. Right? Nice and tight. Hands go back into this position. Remember, at this point, I want to remind you, take breaks as you need to. Take as many breaks as you need to, but get back into it as soon as you can. Good. Hips are back as far as you can go. Another moment of this position. Reach, 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 reach. And stand up. Good. First little section's done. Here we go. Next one. I want everyone stand with your right foot out in front of you. Left foot is behind into a lunged position. Okay? Now, if you look from the side, I don't want this knee too far forward. This is too far. You want to be back into this position, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my belt buckle underneath, right? So raise that belt buckle to the ceiling. Tuck your tailbone underneath. Now, take your hands, clasp them together, turn them up, and reach to the ceiling. As far as you can go, you're going to reach to the ceiling. Good. And then reach over to that right side. So you should be feeling a stretch from palm of your left hand all the way down through that hip and down into the left heel. Good. Hold that. Push. Reach as high as you possibly can go. Really push that stretch. This is what makes all the difference here. Good. Again, remember that hip flexor stretch that we were talking about a moment ago. This is opening up through that front of that hip. Good. Come back to the center, reaching as high as you possibly can go. What I want you to do is raise that left heel up off the floor and then back down to the ground. Your ankle should be the only thing that's moving. I need you to pump that 10 times in a row. Up and down, 10 times. Ankle is the only thing that's moving. Each time you go back into it, you should feel a little bit more of that hip flexor stretch, reaching with your hands as far as you can go. Good. After 10, and have you raise your arms out in front of you as far as you can go. Turn just again so you can see this here. So again, feet are facing the same direction. Hands are out in front of you. I want you to reach out in front of you as far as you can go. Bring that knee back just a little bit further. Good. At this point, all the weight should be on your right heel, pushing that heel into the ground. And you should feel that stretch to that hamstring on your front leg side, as well as into the glute and the butt on your right side. Reaching as far as you can go here. Let's come back into this position. Good. From here, hands come, I'll go in this position here. So hands come to here, just like before. You've got to stretch through that right hamstring. We're going to do 10 good mornings from this position. What it should look like is this. My low back stays tight, and I'm just hinging through that hip joint right here. Back and forth, 10 times. All right. Back into this position. Reach as far as you can go. From here, what I'm going to have you do is rotate out to the right side. Again, all of your weight on that right heel. Now you're rotating as far as you can go to the right. You should feel this. Such a good stretch through that right hamstring, right side into that right glute. Go as far as you can go. Hold that position. If you'd like to, you can also pulse into it. Watch your balance here. Good. Back into this position, reach up as high as you can go, straight ahead of you, reaching, 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 and relax. Come on out of that. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna go left leg in front, right leg in back. So we're doing just the exact opposite of what we were just doing a second ago. Just a reminder that back foot should be facing straight ahead. What I want you to do is take your belt buckle, lift it to the ceiling, tuck your butt underneath. You should feel a stretch in the front part of that hip already just a little bit. Now take your hands, clasp them, reach overhead as high as you can go. Try to reach the ceiling, really, really good. You should start to feel a stretch through that whole body. As you open up, lean to that left side, you're gonna open up. So now you should have a stretch from your right palm down through your arm, down through the front of your torso, all the way through that hip flexor into that thigh. Really good. Stretch as hard as you can go. It's gonna make the difference. Really, really good. Now, come back into center. This is where we move that heel up and down. So raise that heel up and then back down. 10 times in a row, that heel should be the only thing that's moving back and forth here. Really good. 10 times, reaching as high as you can go. Don't wimp out on this one. Really good. Perfect. Okay, now we're gonna reach out in front of us. Reach as far as you can go. Now our weight shift changes. So you're gonna bring that knee back just a little bit. There's someone who's coming in now. Cool. So hands out in front of you. Weight should shift onto that left leg. You should feel it in that left hamstring, right? So as you reach out, you're gonna shift, lift your butt up a little bit higher as you're reaching out in front of you. What I want you to do now is reach out higher, reach up, 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 hinge forward, bring those hips back a little bit further. Now, bring your hands, thumbs to your shoulders. We're gonna do 10 good mornings. One more time, here we go. 10 here. Again, the hinging is coming from your hips. You should feel it each time you go down. You should feel it in that hamstring a little bit more. Back stays tight, shoulders stay tight. Okay, after 10, reach out in front of you. Now rotate to the left side as far as you can go. You can pulse if you'd like to, or just hold that position. Hold, hold, hold. Really good. You should feel it straight down into that foot there. Good, let's go a couple more seconds in this position. Oh boy, and then come on back down. Again, take breaks when you need to. Hands go up as high as you can go. Hold it. Squeeze that low back. Extend back as far as you can go. And relax. Really, really good. Okay, here we go. Couple more movements here. Super duper wide with your legs. Go as wide as you possibly can go. Wide as you can go. Hinge your hips back as far as you can go. Hips back, 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 back. Get a stretch to those hamstrings. Thumbs to the back. So this is just like the first thing, but now we've got our legs nice and wide. Okay? Reach your hands out in front of you as far as you can go. Hips come back even further, knees back. Feel that hamstring stretch. Feel the stretch all the way through from the butt down to the legs. And now you're gonna relax all the way down on the floor. From this position, what we're gonna do is keep your right hand on the floor. Left hand's gonna reach up to the ceiling and then back down. Let's do that 3 more times. As you reach up to the ceiling with your left hand, you should feel it in your right inner thigh. Keep those hips hinged back, nice and far. Good. Now let's get that left hand on the floor. You're gonna reach with your right arm all the way up 10 times, or sorry, 4 times. Okay, really, really good. Come on back into this position. Shoulders back, thumbs back. Reach as far as you can go. Good, and come out of that position. Cool. All right, so that's a little bit of a taste of Founders. There's a bit more, but for time's sake, we're gonna stop there. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit thrashed. It's a lovely exercise that you should feel just a little bit. So, all right.